first figure out what works, then try to automate it. You have to learn. You have to be in the weeds before you automate, right? Like that's the biggest problem like most people make. In the first month, did $100,000 worth of sales in just like TikTok Shop with AI content only.
Wow.
This was all AI content. This was only Midjourney and ElevenLabs.
So what does this AI content look like?
Yeah, so I mean, this was very like...
Say I was a UGC creator. I'm like, okay, I want to make content for brands. How could I leverage AI and all these different resources to help make my content better?
Yeah, I think that's exactly like the background that I'm coming from, right? So like I was a creator. I like learned the game through that. And then you learn to leverage AI to like, those are going to be the best prompters is those people, like those creators. I think content is like some luck, some like, you know, good pillars of like lighting, whatever. But some of it is like, comes down to a science. Like there's a reason why some creators go viral every single time.
Zuhair, my guy. Thanks for being here. How's it going?
Going good. Very chaotic recently. Demo day for Speedrun is in like 2 weeks.
We'll
get into that.
Okay. So you're prepping for that.
Insane.
Okay.
Lately.
Well, to give the audience just a little background on you, Zuhair is the definition of a growth hacker. He's been doing this since basically he was conscious. He's worked for a ton of CPG brands and most recently Cosmos, doing all things growth. He even dropped out of college, 20 years old, and now is the founder of DoubleSpeed, which is now focused on automating attention via phone farms and AI creators. I think it's also worth noting that DoubleSpeed is backed by Speedrun, A16Z's incubated program for the best startups in the space. And on this episode, the main theme we're going to touch on is basically automating virality with AI. You know, what does this mean for people that aren't familiar with this space? How do people actually do it? And just some like really actionable insights on how to actually get started.
Basically, like how I got into this world was I was doing like e-commerce, like sneaker botting to start, right? Did that for like 3 months, realized that's not very scalable because like you can get a bunch of Yeezys when they'll be like different sizes. You have to list them all on eBay, whatever. And like, you know, I've always thought about like, you know, how can I minimize like the like, you know, that type of like the human task aspect of it, right? Like if you're doing sneaker botting, like, you know, it's a bot that's like purchasing for you. But then like you actually have to manually upload to eBay, whatever, right? So then I started like retail botting, which means like, you know, toys, printers, pools, whatever. And I would like buy them before they went out of stock and then sell them on Walmart Marketplace. I was actually like one of the first 1,000 sellers on Walmart. And that's because like for some reason I couldn't make an Amazon account. Because I was like 16 or whatever. So then I started on Walmart and would sell a bunch of those. I think like the second month doing that, I hit like $100,000 worth of sales and like I was like 17.
Wow.
And then off of that, I realized like that wouldn't be very scalable like after COVID. So that's why I went to like China, designed some products and sold those like kind of wholesale. And that's what taught me like the marketing game, because I also tried to sell them on like Shopify, would like, you know, do like the meme page stuff of like, you know, like sending them stories to post. I would run like, you know, meta ads, whatever. And that's where I got into this, like, you know, how to make content. But it really, really like hit me when like the restaurant stuff happened. When we moved to Dallas from New York, my dad started a restaurant in Dallas because like he had like brick and mortar stores in New York and had to shut them down due to COVID. So he started a restaurant in Dallas, and due to like some family issues, he couldn't actually be there at the time of the opening or like anything. So it was me managing it during my like AP exams. I like skipped them all to be there. I was doing school virtual, would go in like after like 3 p.m., take an Uber because I couldn't drive. I was managing it. I was also in charge of like how to bring customers in. And all the marketing I'd ever seen or been influenced by was like the hype beast culture of like sneaker botting. Or like, you know, or the actual sneaker bots themselves, which would do like this whole like artificial scarcity thing. So I did this exact same thing. I ran a waitlist on the restaurant and like, you know, like would go on like Facebook groups and whatever and like get people to like write reviews about us and then like drop these like reservation slots at like Wednesdays at 4 p.m.
No way.
And like we had like capacity for like 110 people. But like if 20 people signed up and like the hour had hit, I just closed it. Right. And then I would just put like, oh, like, you know, reservations are closed. Here's a wait list. And we had 6,000 people on that wait list, and the restaurant was booked out for the first 2 months.
Dude.
Just doing
That's
this.
amazing.
Yeah. And that was no like that was no like paid media or anything. That was just like Facebook groups, which was like insane.
It's just consumer psychology.
Just consumer psychology, right? Like if you build up this hype, like people will want to check it out. And like, they
Whoa.
can't get a reservation. And like this is like the best model for a restaurant too, because like now we can call up the customer and be like, your reservation is for Thursday. We have a slot open tonight. Like you want to pull up, right? Like now you maximize your space every single night. Right. Because in a traditional restaurant, you might have a table for 8, and like if you get like 6 people calling the phone, you'll be like, okay, I'll seat them there, right? And like now you're missing out 2 slots, right? Now if I have like a whole wait list and like I can pick and choose who I bring in, I can put a 9-person table there and like put a chair there.
Right.
It's genius.
So like that's where I got into like all the marketing stuff.
No, that's sweet, dude. I think it's so sick to look like linearly at like your life and the events, right? To see like where you came from and like where you currently are. Like you probably would have never predicted like you would have been doing this. Like,
not at that time at all.
Not even maybe like a year ago, honestly.
Yeah. Maybe a year ago.
Okay. 2 years ago. Though.
Yeah,
2 years ago. But it all makes perfect sense. Like,
100%.
Sequentially, like everything led to something else, and like it's just learnings.
The dots connect looking backwards. Yeah.
No, it's so sick, dude. So we like to play a fun game where we'll technically just look at your For You page and kind of just see if the For You page is like pretty spot on with what your personality type is.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple different TikTok accounts. I have like 6 of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna put you guys on the one that I do some like brand research on.
Okay.
Here, I'm gonna start recording now.
Beautiful.
Do you guys want to do it?
Let's do it. Okay. I love this. Okay, TikTok. Are you a face mask guy?
No, not at all. Actually, okay. So to preface,
Yeah.
this is where we search up like a bunch of like research for brands. Like I'll be on call and they're gonna be like, oh, like what should we like name these 10 accounts, whatever, right? Like, and if it's like a study app, it might be like Joseph.studies, right? So then we'll search up like TikTok learning or study talk or whatever. And most apps are targeted towards like females. So like my whole algorithm thinks that I'm like, a 16-year-old girl.
I love it though.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like this is a daily affirmation of a girl with like pink shoes on and a pink iPhone. and like the iPhone with the Rode skincare phone case.
Yeah.
That's so interesting though, because I mean, I did the same thing. Like TikTok is research.
Yeah.
Do you scroll like to consume?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Like, it takes over all my feeds.
Okay.
This is on all my feeds because I also search on my like personal Instagram. So my personal Instagram is also like of a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So like I'm very in tune with that side for sure.
Okay, so you're like, okay, I'm in touch with my feminine. I love that.
I think this is also really cool because it just proves too that like the algorithm really does work with like intentionality, right? Like you can really hack the algo to show you exactly what you want it to show you. You just have to like engage correctly, search things, and really just like make sure you're being intentional with how you interact with it.
Totally.
And honestly, at this point, like I've like learned to like it too, like this content really.
Now you're like, yes, girl.
Yeah.
Get those daily affirmations.
It opens your eyes. It's like, damn, this is what like a 14-year-old girl is like into.
I mean, I have a younger sister.
Oh, okay.
That would very much help.
I kind of love that. I'm always so interested to see like how the content we consume shapes what we actually enjoy. And I'm glad you're enjoying aesthetic, matcha lattes. Like, that's awesome. I'm so happy
That's probably
for
like
you.
a lot of Cosmos stuff, by the way.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Very Cosmos-esque, like the mood board, like flash images type of stuff. Yeah.
Aesthetic.
Like, I think I need to get you a face mask because there's just so many I'm seeing. Okay, that's super interesting though. But yeah, it totally proves the point of you actually do need to warm up your accounts because the algorithm is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. It'll tell you exactly, with intentionality what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it definitely plays in even more because like I'm interacting so much, and even on my like personal TikTok, like if I make videos, it's like 80% female audience, and it's probably because like the warmed account on just this stuff.
That is so interesting. No, it makes such a difference. I notice, like, even with my own account right now, trying to post more founder-led content, but sometimes I'll post like more sports content or like training content, and a lot of times my content doesn't know where to go because it's not properly warmed up because I'm a diverse person, like I have many interests. So for brands and when you're promoting, you really need to make sure that you are so locked in on what your target audience is. I had a friend the other day who has an AI note taker ask me like, hey, should I be understanding what types of professionals are using this AI note taker? Like, does it matter if it's like a consultant or a real estate agent or whatever? And I'm like, absolutely yes, because you should have an account for every single one of those niches and make sure that it's warmed up to reach those different target audiences. Otherwise, the content doesn't know where to land.
Yeah, that's exactly why there's like multiple accounts. Like I have 6 of my own accounts, like, you know, been logged out of like, you know, 20 others probably. But
Yeah, that's
Right.
super interesting.
Okay, so for people that aren't in this space, because it is relatively like a technical space and like a technical product, what you're doing, maybe explain it to them. What is DoubleSpeed? What's the mission? What is going on behind the scenes? And then I'm also curious, like, how did you get up to this point? Because it's relatively new. Like the space is new. What you're doing is new. I think it's super innovative, and a lot of people don't even know that it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe give people some context on how you got here and what it is.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, for starters, like I got into content just like, you know, as a creator, like, you know, working for like people like you guys. I was working for Jimmy Farley. I don't know if you guys know Creators
Yes.
Corner.
Creators Corner,
Yeah, so I was working for his brand.
He does TikTok Shop stuff. for
TikTok
people
Shop
who
stuff.
don't.
Yeah. That was actually before TikTok Shop launched.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
he's
you
out
know,
of the game.
pretty early. I think I was like first batch of creators, was working for like a supplement brand, and that was like doing really, really well. And that's like right when TikTok Shop was about to launch, right? So it's like September of 2022, I believe. And I realized like, you know, I'm making him and like some other brands quite a bit of money, like getting them views. I can kind of do this myself because I was like, you know, making products is easy. I've been in like e-commerce my whole life. I can just make my own product, put it on TikTok and see how it goes because now I've learned this skill. So that's exactly what I did. I took, you know, the product that I thought would be like easiest to make, which is like a poster, right? Like you can find a print shop anywhere. Tried doing a shirt first, but I was like, okay, maybe like fulfillment times won't match up. TikTok Shop is also like very strict on like 2-day shipping policies. So took a graphic that I had for a t-shirt company that they didn't use, put on a poster mock-up. All it was a mock-up, put on TikTok Shop, and I made a video on like October 14th. And yeah, I mean, like that video just blew up, right? Like TikTok Shop was new. I think I got lucky. That video blew up. I got like 3 sales in like the first like 2 hours, right? And that's when you like kind of validate it, right?
Yeah.
Because like that's not happening on like Shopify, right? If you put a Shopify product up and like you route even TikToks to it, like paid ads, you're probably not getting sales right away, right? But TikTok Shop was just so new, like I guess people were buying the products, and then I like had to source the poster the next day to fulfill the
Oh,
order.
no
Like, damn, I actually got to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like calling poster shops and I was like, okay, maybe this like doesn't work out. They can't like fulfill on time. Also, like they wouldn't trust me on the phone of like, oh, I'm trying to like submit this order. And they're like, oh no, you have to come in person and pay before we can print it, whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like insane. So yeah, that works out for the first day. Then the video starts blowing up more. Make a video the second day. Make the video the third day. In the first month, did $100,000 worth of sales in just like TikTok
Wow.
Shop with AI content only.
Wow.
This was all AI content. This was only Midjourney and ElevenLabs.
So what does this AI content look like?
Yeah, so I mean, this was very like high production AI content. So this was like definitely like spent a long time like prompting, put into ElevenLabs multiple times. This is also like back when ElevenLabs didn't have a lot of like, you know, guardrails. Like you can use like other people's voices, like popular like celebrity voices. Now you can't do that. So like it was just a lot of back and forth prompting. Like content used to take a while, right? And that's when I realized like, you know, automating this part, like even like, you know, if I automate like 5 hours out of the 20 hours it takes to make a really, really good video, like could save me like so much time and so much money. Cause like if I can maximize my output and make more videos, make more posts, then I could really win this game.
Yeah.
Right. So kind of a month in, I started automating it myself using like Figma. So I started doing like slideshows and making like sub pages because I know this works for people like Jimmy's brands.
Yeah.
Right? I know this works for other brands, right? So I made some other accounts. I made one more account that was just like kind of founder-led content of like just me in the warehouse talking about all the posters, whatever. And nothing really worked as well as the high production content at first, but then I got into a rhythm with it with the slideshows. And ironically, I used Cosmos to source all the images. Yeah.
I love that. So with the high production type of content, is that more like a talking head? What is that like? Walk me through the
That
different
was
content pieces.
ElevenLabs voiceover
Okay.
with like B-roll clips of like actual posters, or actually it was just me editing the posters.
Okay.
Because like all I would have is like content of me making the posters on Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
And I like it wasn't even me making it was just me like dragging a text box afterwards because it's already
Oh,
made.
yeah.
Like I would just like have to like remake it. Like B-roll like that, and then like some Midjourney.
Okay. Cool.
B-roll too.
And then it was easier to automate the slideshow format.
Yeah,
shifted
it
into
was
that?
it was easier to automate the slideshow format, but like immediately I was like, okay, how can I hire editors to like, take some of this burden off me?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the first thing. Like as soon as you have a winning format, you're like, okay, how can I replicate this like 100 times over?
Yes.
Right? Because like now, like you only have the arbitrage for like a limited amount of time. So like you wanna run that game up. And like I saw like other people trying it, whatever. But we were definitely like ahead of the game. And I think like even still, like if I was to make those exact same videos, the videos would still blow up. Because it was just like so high production. And it was like also the copywriting, also like, the AI nature. Like no one was really using ElevenLabs as much.
That makes
before.
sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that brought you to now DoubleSpeed.
Yeah. So okay, no. Well, I did that for like
Cosmos,
I did that for like 2.5 months. Then New Year's Eve, I had like 1,000 orders ready to go, like to get fulfilled.
Wow.
Yeah, on just that weekend. But I was using a 3PL because at this point it was like too big for my warehouse. I got a 3PL, third-party logistics company, to like fulfill all the orders. Their manager got deported on that weekend.
No.
Yeah, it's like I have no clue what was going on. But since that happened, all the 1,000 orders were late. TikTok Shop just banned me because they're like such a new platform. They're like, okay, like obviously they can't like risk anyone getting late orders.
Sure.
So they just banned my account. And actually there was like a glitch that I realized afterwards, but they banned me like indefinitely. It was supposed to only be for like 14 days. As soon as that happened, I like kind of gave up hope on like anything physical. And I was like, okay, I need to go into like software or like, just doing the content. Also at the same time, like at the time I was in Dallas, because I chose to go to school like that was the nearest to my warehouse. That was my only criteria for picking a college. But I was transferring to USC at the time, so I was like, okay, I can't do this as much anymore. So when I went to USC, I started the same thing as an agency. Like I used the TikTok Shop as a case study, did it as an agency, worked for a bunch of like CPG brands, supplement brands, consumer apps, doing kind of the same thing, but now it was like way more automated. So like this was like the more like 60 posts a month, whatever. And that was all ran at the time. Like I used to use like emulators, plus like I had a couple phones that I would like post content on. But it was all AI made. It was all Midjourney plus ElevenLabs. I had a whole editing team and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's what you did for Cosmos. Is that what brought you to Cosmos? Basically?
So I did the agency for a while. I actually stopped the agency when I got a concussion, and like when I got a concussion, the kind of like all the clients like kind of lost all their videos because like I was just like managing all the editors, whatever. Sure. So like I couldn't go on my computer, so like it was just like the time of like I can't really scale the agency as much.
Right.
Have to do something else. Plus, I was like recruiting at the time. I was actually recruiting for design. Oh. Right. I was recruiting for design because I've always been into that. I want to work at a startup, and I didn't really think like this applies to startup. I like cold emailed Andy at Cosmos, and he was like, "Oh, we don't hire for design. Like they never hired a designer before, but they are looking for growth." I mentioned I do that in the email. He picked up on that, and yeah, I mean, we got on a call. It lasted like an hour. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. That lasted an hour, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm coming to New York for Thanksgiving break. Like, are you in town? Like, we can meet up again." He was like, "Come to the office." That was supposed to be for like 45 minutes. We talked for like 2 hours, and I got the offer the same day.
Nice.
Yeah.
So real quick, for people that don't know, what is Cosmos?
Okay, Cosmos is... Honestly, I was like a big fanboy for like 2 years before I joined. Actually, like I have like a TikTok on like one of my old accounts of like, oh, like where to find graphic design inspo, like from 2022, and like Cosmos is the first one, and it was like I can't even get into the waitlist. So yeah, I was like a reply guy to Andy on Twitter or whatever. It's basically like a Pinterest alternative, a lot more aesthetic. And I had been a user for a long time. Like anybody in the design space probably knows about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's when I first like saw, okay, like this can be really good for consumer apps that are like at scale. Cosmos is like Series A. They've all obviously like proven their stuff out, and like Andy is like a growth hacker by trade. Like he would be like perfect for this pod. Like he did like random Twitter stuff, sold Instagram handles, whatever. So like that really impressed me. I was like, okay, I can learn a lot. I want to be part of a startup so I can start my own one day. This is the best time for me to do it. So I dropped out of school in December to start there. Yeah.
Okay. And then from Cosmos, where did you go next?
Yeah. So at Cosmos, I tried doing this same strategy, and I tried to do it with like 25 accounts. And honestly speaking, it was like really, really, really hard to control, because before I was doing it for like, one like account per brand. And that's fine, right? Like also like the retainers are way bigger because like the content would do really good. And especially like that was also TikTok Shop. So I'd also get commission.
Sure.
And like that was like, oh, I'd get paid like, $2K for a retainer plus like $20K in commission. per month from like one brand, which was like
Gotcha.
insane at the time.
Okay.
And this was like all fully automated. But when I got to Cosmos and tried to replicate the same strategy, I realized it was very, very hard to scale because I was doing one account before, but now I was trying to do like 25.
And you were fully owning the accounts.
Yeah, and I was fully owning the accounts.
And was this the first time you were doing this type of marketing strategy for apps, for like a mobile app, or have you done?
I had done mobile apps before, but like different type of content.
Gotcha.
But like if you're really trying to scale, you can't really do as many like videos. And also like with Cosmos, I realized like, oh, I can't really do the Midjourney stuff. It doesn't fit the aesthetic, right? You know, like the 14-year-old Pinterest girls are not liking that stuff. So that's when I tried like slideshows for the first time and like, you know, hook demo, whatever, which is like hook demo is like super easy to run up. But then you run into like infrastructure issues of like, you now need to deploy this content. You can't use a TikTok API. You can't use emulators because TikTok like, you know, detects that. And everything just becomes like really hard to scale, really hard to manage too, like the analytics, whatever. Like how do you make your content better over time, right? Like if like, you know, even if you are tracking analytics, that doesn't inform, you know, like the creation tools.
Sure.
Right? Like now we have like a system where like, oh, the prompt that you used to make this piece of content that did well versus the prompt that you used to make this piece of content that did bad. Like what are the differences in between those prompts? Right? Like how do you fine tune and how do you make the content better over time? Right? Like there is somewhat of a science to it. Like I think content is like some luck, some like, you know, good, just like good pillars of like lighting, whatever. But some of it is like comes down to a science. Like there's a reason why some creators go viral every single time, right? So like that's the real thing. Like it became hard to scale and hard to track those things, right? Especially when you're doing this and like when you're working at a company like Cosmos and I was like the only one doing growth, doing the AI stuff is like shouldn't be taking up all my time. Like there's so much more stuff to do. I need to hire creators. I need to work with creators to make the B-roll for the AI stuff. So like, you know, I can't be taking up all my time just managing VAs and like managing processes. And the other thing about like real creators and like you know, real creator teams is like they're super unreliable. Right? Like most of these are like college kids because like that's where you get the arbitrage on price.
Right.
Because no adult is like, you know, being paid like, you know, even like $500 a month or you know, $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
But like the college kids just don't post or like, you know, will just like stop posting for a bit or like not listen to guidelines. And I know this because I was a creator. And like when I used to not post, no one would say anything because they can't even manage, right? It's so hard to manage that you're not reaching out to the kid that's not posting like one time, right? But if you don't and you don't set that precedent, then like they're gonna continue doing it.
Exactly.
Totally.
Right. And also like even if their account is doing great and they're making money and whatever, they might just drop off. Because like they don't really care at the end of the day. It's not like their livelihood. Because like a lot of these kids, like yes, they like the extra money, but that's for like dinners. But like they have like all the support in the world from their parents, right? So like they might not be like the most reliable. So that's why like that was the first reason to use AI. It's right. It's like I don't like managing a bunch of 30. Like I don't like managing 30 kids.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It's a full-time job.
Yeah,
it's
we
definitely
have
a full-time job.
7 people full time to manage all of our
Exactly, right? So like the decision like was made of like, oh, do we hire someone to manage all these creators? And at that point, it's still a bet. Like it takes some time. Or do we try to replicate this with AI?
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of the formats today can be replicated, like the slideshows, the hook and demo, whatever. If I was hiring creators today, I would hire them for like the gapping videos, for like the talking videos.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're gonna hire them, to do something like Tollin of like, you know, actually playing on an iPad or like actually talking to the camera or like an actual product in hand. Right. But everything else can be pretty automated. And even like products in hands can like now you can do with AI. It's like insane. But I do think like right now AI is not as good at video. AI is not as good at like can be detected at a lot of things, right? So there's some human creativity that still goes in. I would definitely run both these strategies at parallel.
Yeah. So creators and AI automated content at the same time.
Correct. Yes.
I'm curious. So you mostly are doing slideshows with DoubleSpeed?
Yeah. So that's what we've seen work best because like we've figured out like, you know, how to prompt a real narrative in the storyline. And that's been like the bread and butter right now for most of our clients.
Okay,
is running slideshow accounts. Also like that's where AI performs well enough, right? Like AI pictures, literally no one can tell, especially when swiping on TikTok. So that's been like the main thing for most people right now.
And are most of your clients consumer apps or is it still the TikTok shop niche?
Right now it's mostly consumer apps. And I think that's mostly because of my personal network in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Before that, it was definitely TikTok shop people, and they're all ready to go. I'm just more hesitant there because, like, I know that niche is like, you've probably heard of Icon?
Mm-hmm.
So like I think Icon burned their reputation very early.
Do you want to explain what Icon is for maybe?
Oh yes. Okay, so Icon is another like AI marketing tool, and they did really well. Like they had this whole like public launch. I think they like boasted like 100 million ARR, like 10 million ARR in like a week, whatever. But I think like they lost a lot of their customers because they were just too early. They promised a lot and they just like couldn't deliver. So like that's my whole thing of like when I want to go to the TikTok shop people and the e-commerce people once we're fully ready. Right? Like I don't want to take them on and like not have the product be up to spec. So like right now the clients are like, they know it's in beta. They're like fine with some bugs, whatever. But they're getting results, which is great. And like, we get to kind of test with these people before we bring it out to the masses. Like I really put a big emphasis on like customer support and like customer delivery because like that's what makes your product, especially at the early stage.
Yeah,
right?
That makes sense. Okay, super interesting. Can you like kind of walk me through like what is an ideal slideshow that comes out of this look like?
Yeah. So I think like the big thing is like the setup, right? So we set up like personas, which are basically synthetic influencers. So each account gets a synthetic influencer. It has like, this is a creator that is like 20 years old, goes to UCLA, like, this is their hobbies, whatever. So it kind of like makes a full-on influencer, right? Like it acts like an influencer. It also swipes on TikTok. It engages on content. It comments. It reposts, whatever.
So automated warms up the accounts and everything.
Yeah. And it posts on TikTok, right? And that's like, coming from like templates plus like, the context of who this person is.
Got it.
Right? And that's to be like super specific on the niche so that the content performs better over time. Because like in all of our testing, what we've seen work better is like when you're super niche, right? Like when you're marketing to everyone, you're not marketing to anyone.
Totally.
Right. So like being super niche is probably like the first step. And then like that's what will hook people in. Like when you're like, oh, like this is, how I like, walk my dog and like track its like calories and I go to like USC or whatever. Like, like I can like make up a random story. And then you go throughout that story and like, kind of pose a problem and then the solution would be your product maybe, right? Like you have to make sure not to force your product into there. Like I think that's a big thing that most people get wrong at first.
Yes.
Right? Like they force their product into the slideshow, into the video, wherever.
Yeah. I feel like I talk about that a lot too of like, how does content feel as organic as possible. So it sounds like you've taken a lot of the learnings from, real UGC creators, but now you're like, okay, how do we scale this just massively? With the slideshow content, what does conversion typically look like for these consumer apps?
Yeah, it looks like, I would say 0.5 to 3%, anywhere from there. Like I know that's a really, really big range, but it really depends on the demographic, right? Like we have some like pet apps that do a lot better on conversion versus like some like make money apps which do a lot worse because those are more like motivational like content.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
So let's use that like pet app for example. I want the listeners to kind of understand like the end to end flow of how they would use your tool.
Yeah,
right. They have an app, they need help with distribution, they go to your tool. Like very like high level basic steps. How would they use it? What's like the output? What's like ideal goal?
Yeah. Okay. So right now what it looks like is you'd come in and we have this whole onboarding process of like, let's make you accounts. Right? Like first thing you need is like accounts on these like social platforms, right? So like say you're making TikTok accounts. We help you with like basically like AI prompt of like, describe your thing and we're going to make you some accounts.
So they'll describe the pet app.
Yeah. Describe the pet app. And then as soon as that happens, we'll give you like some usernames. So like it might be like jade.walks or whatever. So that's usernames, bios, PFP, whatever, gets all autofilled.
Basically like usernames kind of like impersonating or simulating what an actual UGC creator promoting this brand would be.
Yeah. So then once you have that down, the account warms for a couple days. And then once that's done.
And warming up entails what exactly? For
warming up is like we've kind of built this like whole system of like, for the first couple days, like the account will like search these keywords like based on like whatever your app is. And then after that, it might like, go on the For You page and then like send screenshots to like Gemini to see like, oh, is this content relevant? If it is, then it might like, repost it, comment on it. And if it's not, it's going to just like swipe away. Right. So like we built a whole system around that. Like that's probably like what took us like the first month to get right.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason is because like if you don't build that structure, then you don't own that feedback loop. Right. Now we've made it so that we can like swap out our like infrastructure layer at any time, like the deployment layer. But we needed to know that like we can get good views to even see if like the content intelligence works, right? Like we
Yeah.
can't test the
Yeah.
content if like we have no deployment layer.
Right.
So like that's the first step, right? Like so now the account warms. And while it's warming, usually like we have a bunch of templates for slideshows ready to go, right? Every single like text box on a slideshow is basically a variable, right? And every image is basically a variable. So everything can be prompted with AI, right? So I can go in there and like actually like the best workflow is like when I take an example TikTok that I know has done well, put it into our system, and it recreates it as a template. And now I can just be like, okay, like add my app to it. And now it'll create me like, 7 slideshows of that same content that I can now queue on an account that exists on a physical device that's been warming.
Does it have to be the same format of video, like for the inspiration, or could it just be like a random TikTok video that is like a pet app that maybe has really good copy, has really good like language, images, etc.?
Yeah, it depends what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to like generate hooks, then you can put whatever you'd like.
Gotcha.
If you're trying to generate like specific content, it works best as like examples. And you've probably seen this best with creators too, right? Like you should probably give them like examples that are like, 90% of the way there, and they make like, subtle tweets. It's like the 3% rule, right? Like tweak it 3% and like it'll go viral again.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's prompt based. You pull in inspiration. The accounts are warmed up. Then what happens?
Yeah. And I want to make a clarification on prompt based here. Like this is what I was talking about earlier about I don't think that you should let AI just do everything on its own, right? So even though it's prompt based, you want to prompt it again. Like after it's already made some output, you want to make those fine tune adjustments because that's what makes the difference in content, right? That's like that's the thing that we have that I think like no one else really does, right? Because everyone else tries to promise a world where like you prompt to market, right? Like as soon
one button.
yeah, one button and now you get a 10 million views. Like that doesn't actually exist, right?
And that's iteration.
Exactly, because most of these tools are made by people that like just like AI and like tech, right? Like they've never done the marketing. They've never done the marketing aspect, right? Like that was my thing too. Like even when I've done this as an agency, I would have systems to like AI create some content, but then not let it go out until I've like checked it with my eyes.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that's the whole kind of discourse on like Twitter right now, right?
Yeah.
Where people are like, "Oh, are you pro or anti AI content? Does it actually work? Does it actually convert?" And I think you're exactly right. Like 100% AI content, no, doesn't work because people want content made by other people.
Yeah.
So you need to have some sort of human touch, whether that's in the iteration, whether that's you're following a trend, whether that's really looking at the comment sections, understanding how people are responding to the content you're already putting out. And it always just needs that little human touch. So how does that impact like the scalability of it all?
Yeah, I mean, I like we don't tell people that like you'll never have to hire anyone for marketing.
Yeah.
But you might have to hire one person now or 2 people instead of 30 creators, right?
Totally.
So like it gives someone like me the power to like create like basically 30 personas or 100 personas and control them all with like fine-tune adjustments. Right? Like that's the big insight, right? Because you're always going to have a marketing hire.
Yeah.
But like it's what they can do that we're changing.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like there's a big arbitrage opportunity here for people that are in marketing or content creators who maybe want to go faceless, want to use tools like this. What do you think is like what are key traits of like the perfect user for your tool, right? Somebody that would just absolutely crush using your tool.
Yeah. I think it's important not to be too early to use something like this. I think like I said, a lot of people have promised the world of like prompt to market, and that gets in people's heads. I think like if you're starting out with an app, don't try to automate it right away. Right? Like kind of what I was saying with the poster example of like first figure out what works, then try to automate it.
You have to learn.
You have to be in the weeds before you automate, right? Like that's the biggest problem like most people make. But once you know what works and you know this game, then you can scale, right? And you want to be in that experimentation phase of like, how do I scale this when you use this tool, right? So that's like the archetype, right? Like you understand the technicality because like this is definitely a specialty tool. The same way like meta ads, like media buying is very specialty software, right? Like not everyone can go in and like, do all of that. Now it's kind of easier on Meta because like creatives matter a lot more, but like it wasn't for a very long time, right? Like this is definitely specialty software, and we expect people to like, pay a lot of money for it and, like learn about it. Like they should like, watch the tutorials, right? Because this is like very, very powerful software, and like the more you learn about it, the more you can use it to your benefit.
Right. Okay.
Right?
So like you wouldn't necessarily recommend like a founder who's very technical, they just launched their app, has never made a TikTok video before to jump on this tool right away? Right.
Well, it really depends, right? If they are very technical and they have some knowledge in the space, like definitely, like if they join our Discord, like we can like
Teach and help.
teach all of that type of
Sure,
stuff,
sure.
right? But like at least they're technical, right? Like I like the technical people a little better, and that's probably why consumer apps have been like, our main customers so far, right? Because most e-commerce companies want us to like manage everything, and we don't really want to do that anymore.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so then back to the end-to-end flow. The accounts get created. It's prompt based, but you go through multiple iterations. It's not just like a one output button type deal. The videos get generated.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Okay. Then like that's kind of the magic, right? Like as soon as the videos are generated, you have the option to like queue this to an account that lives on a physical device. And like, that all just gets done in the background. Like that's our whole infrastructure, right? Like as soon as the videos are generated, it goes up, and then whenever the analytics says, like, goes back into our feedback loop to make this content better over time.
Gotcha. So it does directly upload to TikTok.
Yes.
It goes live on that account.
Yeah. And we have all that first party data.
Okay. And so then you track all the metrics, all the analytics as
Correct.
well onto your dashboard. And then it uses that for like the next generation of
Correct.
video output.
Correct.
Interesting. Do you have to tell it to like use that, or do you have to like prompt it to be like, hey, optimize for views or optimize for comments, or does it kind of
it does that by default. It does that by default. Maybe we should put a bit more settings on that, because like the content sometimes gets crazier over time because of that. Yeah.
That happens to us too, just like with our creators. Sometimes they say crazy things because they know what works.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So it sounds like, as with all things, like test before you scale.
Yeah.
AI content is definitely a viable tool. You still need humans that can market. Overall, I think there's like a debate on Twitter. It's like, okay, is UGC as a whole, as influencer marketing as a whole, starting to disappear? Where do you see like AI content versus UGC work together, or is this kind of like a battle between the two?
I think it does work together. I think like humans will have some input. So like, for us, that looks like, humans using like B-roll at the beginning of like their hook and demos. Like, they use like human clips at the beginning of like video content, but then automate the rest of it, right? So like it makes it so it's a bit cheaper to run the same playbooks, right?
So it almost works together.
Yeah, it works together.
Yeah. Works
together for sure. And then you're using like, the AI to make like the prompts better over time, to make the hooks better over time, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
So all the captions get better or whatever. I in terms of UGC, you're saying like, hiring creators, or like, okay. So if you're actually hiring creators, I don't know if it would go away. I think like the arbitrage in it might disappear a bit, unless you're doing stuff like talking videos. People definitely value the organic content of like someone speaking to them on a screen. But that type of stuff is definitely harder to game, and it's definitely a more like talent issue. Like finding those creators is actually getting much, much harder. The people that can actually like, talk in front of the screen and are actually interesting. Like everyone can now do, like the hook and demo videos, but no one can do like the talking videos and be interesting. So like those creators really blow up and become kind of influencers at a point, right? And those are probably the creators that you're seeing become like the coaches too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's what we see a lot too, where this hook and demo long text format is starting to feel very oversaturated, just because consumers are catching on. So how do you always stay one step ahead of that and continue for content to feel very authentic, very organic?
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you need either really high quality creators, or how do we leverage AI to make things a little bit more entertaining, to make things more fun for the average consumer. And It sounds like you do that in the slideshows. It's very storytelling. It feels authentic. Do you guys get a lot of comments like, oh, this is an ad?
We actually, the ad stuff, maybe like once or twice per like super viral hit, or like more on the viral ones, and like you'll get a bunch of likes. We actually don't really get any comments about AI, which is crazy.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
But we do like, because these are like hyper specific accounts, we do get like comments that say like, oh, like, like how are you having this many problems? Because like it's basically a new problem every
Like,
single
wow,
day.
are you
Yeah.
okay?
Like
Yeah.
exactly. Like people are definitely catching on to that of like, how are you having a new story every single day? Like,
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that's
Like,
so funny.
how do you end up in the hospital every day?
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
dude, are you good?
yeah. Like something's definitely up here. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay, so how do you see like the average, like say I was a UGC creator, I'm like, okay, I want to make content for brands. How
Yeah.
could I leverage AI and all these different resources to help make my content better?
Yeah, I think that's exactly like the background that I'm coming from, right? So
Mhm.
like I was a creator. I like learned the game through that, and then you learn to leverage AI to like those are going to be the best prompters.
Mhm.
Is those people, like those creators, and that's like like kind of what we unlock is like now those creators, instead of doing one account, they can like manage 50 at once,
Yeah.
because they are the best prompters now because they know what works, they know what doesn't, they like understand how to fine tune content.
Basically scaling themselves.
Yeah, scaling themselves. Exactly. Like in any business, in like anything, like if they want to run this as a business, then they have to learn how to scale themselves out of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, super interesting. So who is, I guess like Nick kind of asked this, but out of your clients, what are the most successful like niches? I know you mostly work with consumer apps.
Yeah.
Are they on the smaller side, larger? What does that look like?
Right now, it is like this e-commerce brand, which is like basically a foam roller.
Okay,
It's kind of
interesting.
crazy. And they're hitting like the old person niche, which is what I think is like the best niche to hit with AI content. This is like when I was saying like I was running this as an agency back when I was in school. It was all like old person niche stuff. So like all like supplements that would target old people, and that's when like the commission would go crazy. Though I do think like when I was doing it back as an agency, like those brands would tell you to do like make some like extremely crazy claims, especially with like supplements, and I think like that should get like some like regulation around there. Like I definitely think
Yes.
that should not
Yeah.
exist. The foam roller stuff is just like like you should stretch though, which is
That's fine.
I
Yeah.
see crazy things for supplements.
yeah, for supplements it's very insane.
I think one of the craziest ones I ever saw was a slideshow, and it was these two girls who met at Coachella, and they found it was obviously fake, and they found out that they were long lost twins, but
Yeah.
they looked a much different age because one of them had been taking
Oh
this
my God.
supplement and made her look much younger.
Yeah.
And it went so viral, and people were like, "How do I buy this?" And I'm like, "How do you guys think this is real?"
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's literally scary.
Yeah. The supplement stuff should definitely be like kind of illegal.
I don't know how that
Yeah.
is allowed.
Yeah, it should definitely not be allowed. I think like we're in this like very new age of content, and like TikTok and like organic content has like unlocked so much that there's going to be some like regulation later, or like
Yeah.
just self-regulation.
It's the Wild West right now, a little
definitely
bit.
Wild West.
A little bit, especially with AI. It's very interesting. I think, I don't know, 8-9 months ago, the UGC space was very new, and now technical people are figuring out how do we just scale this out the wazoo, and it'll be interesting to see like what is next.
Yeah.
The space is just growing so fast.
Yeah. And I think like even my bet is not like fully on just like UGC, but I think organic content
Yeah, totally.
will persist, right? Organic content will persist as like something that like informs your paid creatives, or like even just your like top of funnel.
Yeah.
Right? So like organic content will stay, like the formats will change over time, and that's why like we put such a big emphasis on like we just give you all the creative tools, you can make whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So like the arbitrage really is like human creativity, and then like as soon as like you see stuff working, you can make it you can make a template off that, like right off of TikTok.
Totally.
Yeah.
What is your definition of organic content?
Organic content is just anything that can blow up without paid spend or followers.
Mm-hmm.
To me at least.
Mhm.
So that means like TikTok really pioneered this space.
Yeah.
Now there's like Reels, YouTube Shorts, whatever.
Totally. What do you think is going to happen with TikTok AI content? Yeah, they're starting to flag some of the content. I don't know if your videos get flagged at all. I actually don't think they do.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a time when TikTok catches up? Well, it'll get really good at detecting that? Or do you think it's going to be kind of this like cat and mouse thing where it detects it gets better, and it just keeps going back?
Yeah, not only do I think it's going to be like a cat and mouse game, I think like there's always ways around. Like people will learn. But all I know is like we're going to be consuming AI content for the rest of our lives. Or, like it's like up to us if we want to be on like the creation side or just the consuming side, right? So it's definitely here to stay. Like now that it's here, it's here to stay. So yeah, it's kind of just up to you if you want to continue consuming or you want to create too, right? It's the same thing with AI writing. right? Like now, like there are detectors, there are everything, right? But it's like there's ways to get past everything.
Totally. Okay, so I want to transition a little bit to the creator side of things. This pod, like a big point of it is we want to help creators that are either interested in this space, actually get into it and give them like tactical advice, or if they're already in this space, right, how to like level up and get to the next level. Let's say there's a creator that is new to the space. They haven't posted a TikTok video before, but they're very interested in working with brands, consumer apps. Maybe we can be more specific, but they're very interested in like AI generated content. What are your recommendations? Like, how do they actually like get started? Do you recommend they start using these tools from the get-go? Do you recommend they just start from scratch, like a normal creator? What's kind of the pathway?
Sorry, what's like the content? Are they context? Are they a creator right now?
No, let's say they're in college, they're not a
Got it.
creator, but they want to start making content for apps.
Yeah, I think like the first step is understand content. Like you spend a lot of intentional time on TikTok and Instagram. There's a lot of unintentional time that's being spent. But like if you spend a lot of intentional time of like, why did this video blow up? Like you'll understand it after a while, right? Like it might even take like 3-6 months, right? Like it usually does, maybe even a year. But that's the first step. You don't want to jump into like the AI stuff without understanding, the human psychology part first, right? And I think like that's like what my brain was trained on too. Like I didn't actually like come into this world just doing like marketing for like, short form content. Like I like marketed for restaurants before, right? And like did like a waitlist, like Supreme type drop for restaurants before, right? But all the human psychology like is the same throughout this.
Right. Okay, so basically, like you have to understand the foundation of the
You have to
psychology of
understand.
how TikTok works,
Exactly.
how virality works.
If you're trying to be the top of the game, yes, 100%. You have to learn the foundation before you get it. Like, yeah, like you're not gonna like play in the NBA day one, right? Like first you gotta like practice free throws.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So once they understand that, let's say they have a couple of viral videos, they understand the format, they understand the formula. What do you recommend they do next if they want to get into like AI generation or AI tools?
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on what they're trying to do, right? Like if they want to run this as like an agency, they want to run their own consumer app, like what's the context there? But like, let's say they want to just, manage a couple clients, right? Like five clients, 10 clients. What like tools like ours gives you the power to do is like, run multiple accounts for these clients and run multiple like personas for these clients. So like if you're now good at understanding viral videos, going viral multiple times, now you have the power to do that and like fine tune and prompt.
Gotcha. Okay, sick, man. Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important for these creators to understand, or the creators that want to be actual creators, that like you don't have to show your face now to actually be an influencer or to have influence or to make money online.
Yeah.
There's ways to get around it, and there's tools like yours that help extremely. So
yeah, actually, like that's exactly what I would say is like I never did any like face content for any of my like clients, and it would always just be faceless, like with AI on purpose, right? Like that's the reason I tried AI is because I didn't want to put my face in it.
Gotcha.
And I think like the reason for that is because like especially on TikTok when you're starting out, like like your friends might see it, and you don't want your friends to see it when it's at 0 views. You want your friends to see it when it's like 100,000 or whatever.
Totally.
But honestly, like looking back now, I wish I kind of like did that because it would have like built more of a personal brand, because I've done like probably like 100 million views. And like, there's nothing to show is coming from me.
That's not
Yeah.
attached.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So there's definitely like, you can play both sides.
Sure.
For sure. But like, if you want to do faceless content, also like as a college student, this is like highly lucrative to like get into any of this. So I would definitely recommend.
1,000%. Okay, man. Well, we're coming up on time, but where can people follow you? Like, let's actually give you some credit now. Like, how do people follow you to like everything you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very like public out there. Trying to be more of that, I guess.
Is Twitter the main platform?
Yeah, Twitter is the main platform. Rare Zuhair on Twitter. I guess Twitter is the main platform for this audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Twitter would be the place. Yeah.
Okay.
And DoubleSpeed.
And DoubleSpeed. Yeah, DoubleSpeed.ai.
Hell yeah, dude. Best of luck with everything, and yeah, excited to see where DoubleSpeed goes.
Of course.
Super proud.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Woo.
Hell yeah.